All right, so yeah, you guys should just indicate if you can hear me clearly, so I'll be sure. Just maybe make a thumbs up or something. Can you guys hear me? Okay, okay. So it's 7:59 from my time here. So as you all know, this is the introduction to Photoshop class. So I welcome you guys to the class today. So my name is Stephen Omeje. I am a graphic designer. I've been designing for about 4 years now. So I decided to teach what I know in design. Yeah, so just basically pass down the knowledge that I have. So we had a class previously. I think that was like last week. We had one class. So this is that the class in the previous class we covered like introduction to Photoshop, sorry, introduction to graphic design. Someone said they can't hear. Sorry, you guys should indicate if you can hear me, so I'll be sure.
Yes, I can hear you.
Sorry, am I very audible? Can you guys hear me clearly?
I can hear you clearly.
Okay, I someone said you can't hear me, so anyways, maybe it's the network from his end. So sorry, okay, all right. So I think okay, Caleb is in the building. So welcome, Caleb. Okay, Pressure said you're audible. All right, so I'll just proceed now. So like I was saying earlier, in our first class, in our first class, I covered the introduction to graphic design, majorly showing the basic principles of graphic design. I used a presentation slide which I shared to the class. So I believe those that joined in, like you got some knowledge from that because if you're trying to learn something, it's best that you have a foundational knowledge of what you want to learn. So you need to like get a background knowledge of what you want to learn. Just like when you started from school, you started from like the preliminary levels before you started transiting to higher levels. So that is how I want to follow up the classes. So I just started by showing you some designs and some software. Some people might not really understand because you don't have a background knowledge of what we are saying. So the essence of the first class was to build for like beginners. I know some people are already like good designers and they're already designing very well, but for beginners, it's essential that you have that background knowledge before you start. It covers certain things that you will be seeing in the software. Yeah. So before without wasting much time, I will just go to my Photoshop and then we can. I'll start showing you guys. I'll first walk you guys through like the entire tools in Photoshop before we proceed. So I'm going to share my screen. Um, so you guys should just hold on. Let me share my screen now. So can you guys see my screen? You can see my screen, right? All right. I can see the thumbs up there. So okay, so I'm heading right to my Photoshop. So this is my Photoshop. Come in, let me minimize this. So sorry. Okay, so I want to just to confirm again. You guys can see my screen, right?
Yes, I can see you.
Okay, yeah. So this is my Photoshop. This Photoshop software now. So for those of you that have been using Photoshop, you must have been familiar with the software. So normally when you come to before you start designing anything, it's going to display probably previous designs that you have done. So these are some of the this is just like projects that I was working on today, and it's just displaying like a preview of them, so I can just click on anyone and then I will just go to the project and continue editing it. So, but for now, well, we want to like start designing something new. So, if you can look from up here, you can see that there are different options here. Actually, Photoshop has a lot of tools and softwares, and within those tools, there are still like built-in tools as well. So, I'll first of all show you, okay, this is how to create new file and edit image layers and a lot of things here. But first of all, I'll just click on new file. So you want to start with a new file, you need to have like the dimensions of the designs you want to make. So as you can see here on my own end here, it's showing me the recent dimensions, recent size, project sizes that I've been working on. So this is 1350 by 1080. So you can still go to saved. Let's say they are the ones that you saved, that you maybe you use them regularly. You can save them here, but I don't have anyone under my saved um, file dimension here. So this one is for photos. This is for photographers. Yeah. So for photographers, these are like dimension sizes for them. There is portrait, landscape, and the rest. So for prints, there's also A4 size, A3. All print sizes are here. Then this is art size. Sorry, I need to be approving people. I could not find a way to grant free access, so I need to like come back and admit. All right, so let's head back. Okay, so like I was explaining, if you come here, there are just different things. If you, it depends on what you want to do. Some people use Photoshop for art, some use it to paint, some use it for different purposes, and this is like this is film and video. It also gives you like video sizes, HD TV and the rest. So for this one, we're not going to be covering all those ones, but whatever you want to do, probably your client might have provided a file size for you. They might give you, okay, so inches by 8 by 10, anyone at all they give you, just know how to use them. So um so now for me, I'm just going to be working with 1350 by 1080, which is 1080 by 1350, which is like the Instagram portrait size. So as you can see here, there is also different file dimensions. There's pixels, there's inches, there's centimeter, there's points, there's picas. So it depends on the one that you're comfortable with. For me, I'm very comfortable with pixels. Some people are comfortable with feet. Some people know more about inches and the rest. So for me, I prefer working with pixels, which is like the normal one for digital designs. If you are going to be creating designs that are going to be forwarded digitally, I think pixels is more easier to understand. You can still use other ones, and you can still convert inches to pixels. So that's just basically understanding the file dimensions and how to go about them. So this is the width, the heights. Whenever you come, you can just play around with this thing depending on the file size that you have. The resolution is recommended that your resolution should be 300 for print designs, but you can still leave it at, you can do 72. I see some people use 72 and it still give a good output, but for me, I like leaving my own at 300. And this is beats and the rest. So most of these things, you just have to just leave them the way they are, because it's not everybody understands some of these other things. There is color, profile, pixels, aspect ratio. So just keep all those ones. So we just move straight to create our file. Yeah, so it gives us this portrait size now. So yeah, normally it's from the file that we created. There's a way you can select the color of the artboard. So this is called the artboard. This frame here now is the artboard. So now you can pick the color you want. For me, I like leaving it with on white, so you can just easily see what you are doing. So now when you come to Photoshop here, there are different things here. You can see there are tools by the left, some things are positioned by the right as well, some things are at the top. So you need to understand that it's not everything you are going to understand immediately. With time, when you start working on certain projects, then you'll be able to understand some of these things very well. So, but for the meantime, there are some of them that you are necessarily going to work with. As long as you are going to be using the software, you're going to work with some of these tools. So, I'll start by explaining these ones by the left here. So if you can see, these are like the most important ones because they influence most of the things that you're going to be doing. Most of the effects that you're going to be applying, you can find them here. You can find them. You can use these tools to do most of your designs as well. So for the first one, this is the move tool. So if I hover over it now, you can see that they are showing you. Sorry, they show you this little description of what that tool is meant for. You can see it's showing you just to move things around. So if I hover to the second one, this is the rectangle marquee tool. So it shows you each of them has a little video. Depending on the version of Photoshop that you're using, there's a little description of what that tool is meant for. So starting with the move tool, let me try and bring in one image so we can just be using that for an example. Yeah, so I actually saved this picture because for the design we're going to be doing, we might be using some of these. I don't even know what I'm going to show you guys how to do, but I'll just try and probably do a poster or something. So you can just easily drag and drop. So I'll still explain these ones as well. So you see from the images here, I just dragged it and I placed it in Photoshop. I think still loading. So let me just leave this picture here now so I can use it for the example. So as you can see now, this is the picture here. So another thing I want to explain, if you can look at where my mouse is by the right here, so you can see there's layers, there's channels, there's path. So one thing you need to understand is that the layer is a very important tool in Photoshop. It's a very important tool in Photoshop. So sorry, let me check something in the group. I can see that. Okay, so let's proceed. Sorry, I was trying to check if some people are having issues with their with joining the class, but I think it's all right. So okay, so yeah, what I was trying to explain, the layer here, the layer is a very important tool in Photoshop actually because this is what influences most of the things that you're going to be seeing on the artboard here. So you need to understand that whatever goes on in the layer here influences this board here. So now the layer is just like you are stacking different elements. So each element that you create in this artboard here is going to create a new layer in the layer panel here. So as we continue, you are going to be seeing what I'm trying to explain. So this is the image we're using now. So the move tool basically is to move things around. So you can see you're using it to move this image around. So assuming you are not on the move tool, if you are on this other tool here, you cannot move this image around. You cannot move anything. You can only use the functionalities that that particular tool is being made for. So whenever you want to move something, you have to go back to the move tool and select on it and tap on what you want to move, and then you can move it around. It could be a shape. So let me say I'll create a shape. Let me create a sorry. So let me create a rectangle shape here. So if I create a shape, for example, you can see that I can just come to the move tool. So I'm going to explain the other tool that is beneath the move tool. So you see, if I hold the shape, I can easily move it around like this, place it anywhere I want with the move tool. Another thing I was trying to explain with the layer is if you can look at the layer panel here, you can see that it created another new layer on top of the image layer. So now, even from this layer panel here, if I drag this rectangle layer below the image, you can see that it's not visible in the artboard. Why? Because it's behind the image in the layer. So whatever you are doing in the layer here, it reflects what is happening in this artboard. Every design software has a layer. I'm talking for the ones that I've used. It has a layer panel. I believe all of them. I've used Illustrator, I've used Figma, I've used most of them, and they have layer panel. So this is what you use to arrange your elements in the design. After moving them here, there's a way you can position things from the layer and it will influence how they reflect on the artboard here. So moving on, this is the move tool. Beneath the move tool, there's what we call the artboard tool. So the artboard tool is like to create an extra artboard. Like I explained earlier, this particular frame here is called an artboard. So you can have duplicated artboards. You can duplicate this particular artboard and make it two. So let me show you something so you can see. So from the artboard tool here, I can draw another artboard like this, and then it's going to create a new artboard for me. So as you can see, I've created a new artboard. And now what we have is okay, this is one artboard. He created an artboard with from the he created a new artboard. Okay, so if I want to duplicate this artboard here, I think I need to grant someone access. So back to what I was explaining. So I was trying to explain the artboard too. So let me just go back. Let me go back from um, so now let me create an artboard with these particular things that we have here, these little elements that we have here, so you can understand. So if I create a new artboard, for example, artboard from layer, artboard one, I'll still cover out to create an artboard. So now you can see we have artboard one. So now if I want to duplicate this particular artboard, this is what you use when you are creating like a carousel slide. You want to have like two similar posts. You know what? If for those that don't know what a carousel is called, it's called like a slide post on Instagram. You can see some brands use it. I also do it on my Instagram page. You have like a slide of similar images where you pass different informations from one to another. So that's what a carousel is called. That's what a carousel means. So this is the artboard one. So the when you move to the artboard tool, if you come from the move tool here, you can see that there is a move tool and there is an artboard tool. So for the artboard tool, you create this artboard here, and if you hold Alt, you can move it, and you can have two of these artboards like this. So as you can see, we have two artboards here. So to do that is under the move tool. So now moving on, let me just be on these two artboards so I can be using them to explain certain things. So now you can see that we have these ones here. So the next tool that we have here is the rectangle macro tool. So this is basically the macro tool. There's the rectangle macro tool, there's the elliptical macro tool, single row macro tool, single column macro tool. Basically the macro tool is like to select a portion of an image and maybe drag out that part or replace it with something. So let me select this part now so you can see. So this is the okay, on the macro tool, I've selected this area, right? I can just click on right click and make copy. So I think I need to be on top of the image I want to make a copy from. So you can see layer via copy, and then it allows me to move out. You can see I just created a copy of that particular picture. I created a copy of that part of his head now. So that's what the macro tool does. So you can use this to probably just mark out a part of an image or place something inside. So it just gives you a new selection of a particular portion of an image. So that's what it basically does. So the next one we have here is the lasso tool. Yeah, the lasso tool. So the lasso tool basically it also has two, okay, it also has three under it. So that's how it is. Under each tool is there are more tools that are similar to it. So I'm not going to be explaining like everything because it's not possible for me to explain everything. There are just a lot of things here that you need to just explore and learn some of them. I'm going to explain the ones that I know that you need, the ones that are necessary for you. So yeah, the lasso tool. Lasso tool is quite similar to the rectangle macro tool because it also helps you make a selection of an image of a portion of an image, for example. So now, if I go to the lasso tool here, there is the lasso tool and the polygon lasso tool and the magnetic lasso tool. So I've never used the magnetic lasso tool. There are some tools that I've not really used here. I just use the ones that are necessary for me. So I just master the ones that I know that okay, I'm going to be using these ones frequently. So as you can see, like I said, from the little video here, you can see what the lasso tool does. It helps you select a certain portion of an image and take it out. It's similar to the rectangle, the macro tool. So from here, I can just easily select this part of his head, for example, and then it gives me a selection, and then I can do layer via copy, and then I'll go back to the move tool and I can move out. So you can see what it does. It helps you move out a certain portion of an image, but when you're using it, like you have to use it constructively. You use it to move out something that actually makes sense. So I'm going to delete that one. So from the lasso tool here, can you see my screen?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, you can see my screen, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So from the previous video that ended, what I was trying to explain was like the entire tools that are available here in Photoshop now. So I already explained the move tool, the macro tool, the lasso tool. I think I was on the lasso tool before it ended. So I'll just continue with the lasso tool. So basically, what I talked about previously was that the move tool, if you hover over it here, you can see it's just to move things around. The macro tool is to make selection of a particular part of an image, and then you can replace it or take it out. And then the lasso tool is also similar to the macro tool, but this one it helps you make a specific um, it helps you make specific alignment or selection of a particular image, and then you take out that part. So this is the lasso tool now. I'm currently on the lasso tool, so I can simply use the lasso tool to like probably, you can see what I'm doing. I can take off a portion of his head like this. Though there's a better tool to use to do this, but I'm just trying to show you guys some of the things you can do with the lasso tool. So you can see I'm just using it to just so I can just do layer via copy, and then I have a selection of his head. You can see if I move it here, this is not clean, like it doesn't really make sense, but I'm just showing you something you can do with the lasso tool. There are other uses that you can use it to do. So if Adibin's head was a PNG, like Adibin there was no background, so it would make sense to remove the head, but then you can see just something clean. I'm just showing you some functionalities with the lasso tool. So this is the lasso tool, the normal lasso tool. So under the lasso tool, sorry, just mute your mic if you join. Let me see how. I don't know who just joined now, but please just mute your mic so it won't interfere with the entire video. So yeah, like I was explaining, this is the normal lasso tool. We have the polygon lasso tool, which is to make like linear selection of an image. So let me move this stuff down here so you can see. So if I use the polygon lasso tool here, you can see I can make it, and then it's giving me this straight line. It's not giving me that free selection like the normal lasso tool. So this one now I can just do it straight line. They're just giving you that linear option to select things like in the linear format. So that's that about the lasso tool. The last one, the magnetic lasso tool. Honestly, I've not used that one before. I don't really know, but let me just try and use it and see. So let me just do something like this and see. So yeah, I know it still helps you make a selection, I think. Yeah, basically just help you make a selection. So for me, I've never used it, so I can't really tell what other functions I can use it for. So now this is the quick selection tool. As you can see, it helps you select a part of an image, and then you can remove the background. So for me, this is the tool I use most times to remove the background of an image. So let me import a picture, so try and remove the background so you guys can see. So this will also cover how to remove the background of a particular picture. So let me select one of these Moses Bliss's picture, and then I don't know why it's not showing. So let me just drag this one, for example, and then so I think it's not showing me the option to drop it, probably because of the live record. So another way you can do it is to come to file here. You can see from here, from file here, you can create a new file. But I'll enter open, so it's open the folder for me, and then I would find where I kept that picture. So let me just quickly find where I kept it, and then I think I can remember where I kept it. So ah, so I don't know what's the issue, but I would have loved to show you how to use this thing, the quick selection tool with an image from there. But I'm coming. Let me try something. Yeah, so I think yeah, I've been able to drop this one here. So to use the quick selection tool, if you go to the quick selection tool, it gives you this option to select the image. Now you can see from here it's very small, but then I can increase the brush size by holding the square bracket tool on your keyboard. You can increase and reduce the brush size. You can see I can increase it and reduce it. So for this one now, I'm just going to hold it like this and leave it at this level. And all you just need to do is to click on the part of the image, and you see it's making a selection for you now. But then this is one way to remove image from a background. After making the selection, you just click on select and mask. But then there's an easier way that Photoshop has made it now. Once you are on the quick selection tool, you just need to click on, if you see from here. So another thing you need to understand is some of these tools here by the left, once you are selecting on one, it gives you another option at the top here. There are some options that you can see that are also linked to the particular tool that you are selected on. So as you can see, this is the quick selection tool. There are options here regarding the quick selection tool. From this one now, you can see minus. If you see where my mouse is, you see subtract from selection. If you go here, you see add selection. If you go here, you see new selection. So if I click on new selection, showing me just to select this part now. So what if I want to clean out some of this part that I selected? I can go back to subtract. Yeah, so you can see it's showing that minus. The previous one was showing plus, but this one is showing minus. So I can clean out the part of the image that I selected. Or an easier way to do this is to hold Alt on your keyboard. If you are on the plus, you can hold Alt, and then you see it shows that minus. If you release it, it shows plus. But then what I was trying to show you is from this quick selection tool here, Photoshop has made it easy. You don't need to start, trying to make the selection. You can just easily click on select subject, and then it would load for a while, and then it will automatically select it for you. So you just have to wait a little and see. So it says you need to wait while the image is processing and all that. So let's just wait for it. You see it will select the image properly for you, and all you just need to do is to zoom closer and probably make some adjustment to some side it didn't select properly. So as you can see, it has selected the image for us now. It has selected what we need. We don't need the background. We just need to take Moses Bliss out of this particular background. So as you can see now, this is what we have here. So now whenever you do this, it's advisable that you zoom closer and try to work on some of the edges here, because you are working with the edges. For example, if this area here is like this, for example, when I crop it now, when I finally remove the background, this portion of his head that is not selected is not going to be included in his image. So now you need to ensure that he's selecting every part properly. Yeah, so you need to zoom in and ensure that it's selecting every part properly. You just zoom in around the image, just move around the image and be sure that it's selecting all the part of the image properly before you finally move to the next step. So the next step now after this is to click on select and mask. So now this is showing you the work of the quick selection tool. You can easily quickly just select your image and remove the background. So once you go to the quick selection tool, there's another thing you need to understand here. There are some options here. So I told you inside every tool there's another tool and other options that you need to know how to tweak. So from here, this is the quick selection tool. This is the refine edge brush tool. So what this tool does is once you select an image and you click on select and mask, if you have an image that have hairs, this refine edge brush tool as it helps you adjust the cutting at the hair side, at the area of the hair, so you can have like a perfect selection. It won't really be reflecting some part of the background in the hair. So as you can see now, I'm just like painting around the hair side like this, painting around like this. So once I finally remove this from click on OK, and it finally takes him off this background, you see that the hairs will be properly selected. So if you don't do it like that, it might have some portion of the background still showing in the hair, and it doesn't really look cool sometimes. So if you have it, you can still play around with this effect. But for me, I don't. So I just leave it like this. So I'll just click on new layer from. Just click on OK, and then you can see he's finally out of that background now. Yeah, so we have removed the background now. So that's what the quick selection tool does. So you can just easily save this as a PNG. To save it as a PNG, you come to File, you go to Export, you click on Export As, and then to pop out some options. Okay, sorry, this is like another process. So for me, I use the shortcut keys. I hardly come to these exports. That's why I don't even know which one to. So quick export as PNG. You can see quick export as PNG, and then it's just basically going to show you to save this as a PNG, and then yeah, I'll just click on save, and it will save this as a PNG to my folder. So before I proceed, let me be sure that you guys can get me clearly, so I won't just be. Can you guys hear me?
Loud and clear, boss.
Okay, okay, yeah. So let me go back to my Photoshop. So yeah, so now we have this particular image. We have removed the background now. So now, as it has saved as a PNG, if for example, let me just create another new file here like this, and then I'll just go back to our folder here where we have it here. So you can see now from here now, let me maximize it. From here now you can see we have one. This is the normal image, and now we have the PNG here. So I can easily drag this, and I don't know why this thing is has refused to drop. So I can easily drag this and place it here, and yeah, I can proceed with my design from here now. Increase the size, and it's already a PNG. So whenever you have an image you want to work on, you need to like remove the background first. You need to remove the background first, then before you now take it to the new file where you want to start working on it, and then you proceed with your work. So let's go back to explaining the other tools here. So from the quick selection tool here, there's also the object selection tool, the magic wand tool. Those are also tools for removing background of an image. But for me, I use the quick selection tool. So on your own free time, you can explore this magic wand tool. I think what it does basically is similar to the quick selection tool. I'm not familiar with this tool. So you see, one in pixels selected. I don't even know. Let me see. Yeah, so I'm not really familiar with this. So let me not waste much time here. So you can just explore it and see how it works. But for me, I don't. really use it. I use the quick selection tool because that's the one I'm more comfortable with. So that's another thing. You just use the tool that you know, okay, I'm comfortable with this tool. Then if there's anyone that you're not comfortable with, if you have the time, you can especially give it a special time to learn properly and learn how to use it properly. So moving up next, we have the crop tool. So the crop tool basically is just to like crop part of an image. So let me use this image for example. I'm just going to go back to the normal picture here. So you see the crop tool now. Once you're on the tool, it displays an option that is related to the tool. So this for the quick selection tool, is showing me to crop to make a selection of the image. One for the crop tool is showing me to crop. So now what the crop tool does is it helps you reduce a part of a picture or increase it. So let's say I have this as a portrait, but I don't want it to be a portrait, for example, and I don't want to start creating a new artboard and start placing into a square for a square artboard. I just want to crop it from here. So all you just need to do is to come to the crop tool, and then you can easily crop it like this. Can easily crop it. This is something that everybody is supposed to understand because you do this most times, even with your phone. You can easily crop with any software. So you can see I can crop it and save it like this, and then it automatically saves in a new frame size. Yeah, so that's what the crop tool does basically. I don't think it has a okay, it has other tool here, perspective, crop tool, size. I'm not familiar with those ones. I'm just going to be explaining the ones that I know that I'm familiar with and you guys are going to be needing. So moving on, the next one here we have is the frame tool. Particularly, I've not used this one, so but as you can see, the what it does here is it gives you an option to select a part of an image and place another image in it. So you can explore that one. So yeah, you can explore it because of time. I still need to explain effect and some other things. I'm not sure we'll be really doing a proper design today, but let me just see. So this is the eyedropper tool. Yeah, what this one does is it allows you select colors of an image. So as you can see, once you tap, it gives you a selection of the color of that particular part of an image that you're selecting. So this is black. I'm selecting black. If I tap here, selecting black. So let me create a shape so you can see. So this works when you want to probably color something, a shape or something related. So now we have this here. Let me turn this to another color so you guys can see now. So we have red, so I would make this red for example. So let's say from this red I want to make a selection of some part of his image. Let me duplicate this. So you can use this to even create a color palette for a brand. So for example, and then I would duplicate it like this now. So we have four colors here. And let's say from these four colors I want to pick colors from this is picture. I can easily go to the first one and select his hair, for example, make it black. And then on the second one, I can select a darker part of his skin, for example. So it's just this tool basically just give you the option to pick colors. So from this one too, I can select one part here, and then this other one, I can probably select this part of his leaf. So you can see now it just helps you pick colors from an image. So sometimes you want to create a color palette and you just need to pick colors from a particular image, you can just use this tool and just do it quickly. So the next one is the um, spot healing tool, spot healing brush tool. So what this allows you to do is this is basically mostly used by photographers, and they have a picture that has like too many spots on it and you want to clean those spots. You can use this to like um just clean the spot. So for this is picture, this is clean. I don't think there is anything, but let me just show you with this one too. Let me just assume I want to clean um some part of this is eyebrows, for example. So you can use the spot healing tool. You select one part of the image that is okay, and then okay, you don't even select any part. So you can see how you're basically cleaning out that area. So if there are spots, for example, on someone's face, once you just paint over it, it's just going to clean the spot immediately. If you paint over it, it's just going to clean the spot. But then you need to do it constructively because there's a way you do it, it would like change the person's face somehow. So that's I don't do photography, so I'm not too familiar with the spot filling tool. While the next one here is the brush tool. Yes, the brush tool is mostly used like to paint in shadows or to clean out when you are doing masking, like layer masking. It's basically used um to do masking or probably paint in shadows. So let's say for example I want to add some shadows on this picture. I can just use this brush tool, and then from my foreground color here, so these two colors here is the foreground color. So whatever color is shown here, when you use something, when you use a brush, you see it's displaying that color. If I switch it to the other black one, it's going to paint in black part. So this is what you do with the brush tool. You can just paint in shadow, and then you can add a text on top of these shadows here. Something like this now, for example. So that's that. For the brush tool, it also has some options here. So if I click on, so like I told you, if you are any tool here, there are options above it to reduce the opacity, reduce the flow, the smoothness. So the smoothness now is on 10. If I increase it now, it's going to like change some settings on the on how smooth the brush is. So now this one now you can see that there are different brushes. So you click on this particular brush to this brush setting here, it's going to bring out this option, this full brush setting here. There are a lot of other things you can do. The smooth, build up, you can change the position of the brush. You see this thing here, you can change the position like this. You know, you just need to learn to play around with some of these things. And then another thing you need to know is that you can actually import brushes. Yes, you can import brushes. So now if I come here on the brush setting here, from this top side here, you can see if I click on settings, there's an option for me to import brush. There are many options here: delete brush, rename. You know, you can just rename a brush. For example, this one is soft round brush. If you want to rename it, if you click on rename, it shows you can give it a new name that you're more comfortable with. So for this one now, I'll show you how to import brushes. So if you come here, you can download brush packs from Google. There's a site called Brushizy. They have different type of brush. So you can download any one and then you can choose it. So to import brush, you come here, you click on import brushes, and then you see me. I already have some brushes that I downloaded here. So these are some custom brushes here. So I have some folders here of brushes. So if you have a brush, if you just download it, you save it in your PC, and then you can just load it here. And then if you scroll down, you can see that that brush is automatically here. So I can use it. Recently I downloaded. So you see this one is the crown brush, for example. Let me use this one so you can see. So this is like royalty brush. So now if I go and I change the foreground color to, let's say, white, for example, I can just use this brush tool to just paint in, and then you see we have that crown there. You get, so you can download most of these brushes online. So I didn't do it on a new layer as well. So if I go back to the brush tool and then I put this here, you can see that I have this particular thing here. I can move it on and use it on my design anyhow I want. So that's what the brush tool does basically. So next up we have the, okay, under the brush tool, you still have the pencil tool, the mixer tool. All these things are like some other preliminary brushes that are under there. So you can just explore that one by yourself. So the brush tool is also used for painting. For those that do painting, you can import brushes that you can use to paint, and then you use your tablet to do the painting. As you can see, this description here is showing you can use it to paint in stuff like this. So clone tool. This is basically to pick a particular portion of an image and then you clone it, you duplicate it. For example, if I hover over the clone tool now, you can see what it does. It shows you that you can pick from here and replace it there. You get, so you see what it does. So now if I let me try it with this one now. So from this is picture, I'm just going to duplicate it, Control J, and then I'll delete all these shapes. So we'll have free. So now for the clone tool now, I can easily come, for example, let's say I want to select some part of his head, for example. I'm just doing anything because I don't want to start looking for another picture to do this thing. So as you can see, you can move and then you place it and then you just see what it does. So help you clone the particular selection and duplicate it. So you can see now, just like we just duplicated this picture somehow. So that's what the clone tool does. So I'm just going to go back. So no wonder effect. And then the next one is the history brush. This is like to go back. I'm not going to explain this one because I hardly use it. While the next one is the eraser tool. Yeah, so you can easily erase a particular part of an image. So you can see now, you can use it to clean out one any part of an image. Let's say you do something and you want to clean, or you import a PNG, for example, and there's a particular part you don't want, you can easily use it to clean out. So the next one is the gradient tool. So under the gradient tool, there's also the paint bucket tool, the 3D. So there's just a lot of tools here. I'm just going to explain the popular ones for you guys. So now the gradient tool is more like mixing two colors. That's basically what it is. So now, like I told you, if you click on any tool, there's an option above it. So if you look at the option above here, you can see that it gives you an option to select. So I have some gradients that I downloaded and I imported them here. So you can see this is the blue, there is the purple, there is the red. So let's say this is the, let me just use this purple for example, and then you can see the color have changed to purple. Now there are other types of gradients that you can use. This is the linear gradients, this is the star, I think this is, okay, this is radial, this is angle, this is reflected, and this is diamond. So there are different types. So so once you're in the gradient tool, you want to paint in the gradients for example. So let's say let me see what it does. So now I want to paint in gradient, I can just come and drag it like this. And then you see painting that gradient for me. But then me, most times I don't use it like this. So you see, let's say you want that to be the background, for example. On this one, let me go to this one that we have the background out. So now let's say I would add a new layer and then I want to put that gradient in the background. So you can see now we have automatically added a new background to this his image. So you can see easily, all you need to do is select the color of the gradient you want and then create a new layer from the layer panel here. So to create a new layer, if you come down to the layer panel here, you can see a couple of options here. There's to add effect. If you want to add effect to the image, then there's an option to add effect here. There's blending options, stroke, bevel and emboss. I don't think you will need to be adding any of this effect on this image. I think only drop shadow will make sense to add for this image now, but then let's just leave it like that. While the next one is to mask. So now explaining layer mask. Now let me just use this time to explain layer mask. So layer mask means, let me show you. You can see the image, this layer like this, for example. There is no mask on it here. So once you click on the layer mask, it creates this new white box here. So now what it does is, when you go to the brush tool, you can, I don't want this crown brush, I want the soft brush. So what you, most times you're going to be using this soft brush to clean out. So let's say I want to clean out this down part of this image, for example. I want to clean it out. You can clean out the whole image. You see what it does? You can clean out the whole image. If, yeah, let's say if the foreground color is on black, you can clean out the whole image. While you can toggle it back to white and bring it back. So the white is like redoing what you just did. You get? So now once I put it on black, I can decide to like just brush out some part of this picture like this. You get, just brush it out. Let's say I just want something like this, and then I want to add a text below. I can just do it like this. Yes. So now it shows you can see from from this layer mask here, you can see that it's showing you that you have actually painting out something. It's giving you that dark selection there. So if you don't want it, you can easily right click and click on disable, and then it's going to remove that. If you want to delete it entirely, you can right click and click on delete, and then it deletes. So that's that. So now under here too, you can add different effects to this picture. You can add brightness level. So that is another thing on its own. So that is like effect, adding effect to an image. But then we'll have to explain the tools before we get to that. So now you see adding effects to an image. There are different effects here. There is brightness, there is levels, curves, exposure. You're going to be using most of these when you start designing proper flyers and stuff. You use most of those tools. So now that's that about layer mask. So now you just need to understand, if you add a layer mask like this, you can easily clean out and bring it back or do any other thing. So yeah, another option here is to group. Here, let's say um these two, this image and the background here, if I want to group them, I can easily press Ctrl G after making selection of the both of them by holding Shift and clicking, or holding Control and clicking on the things you want to group. You can easily click on Ctrl G and then you can see this is group one. Get, I can create another image and group them. So this helps you like to organize your layers, your layer panel when you are working on something. So that's that. So if you want to add a new layer, yes, you can see this plus icon here. You just click on plus and then another new layer is there. You can continue doing another thing on the new layer. So you can see I'm trying to add shadows here on the new layer. So that's basically how it works. There are different things you can, different options with different functionalities. So now back to the tool here. I just explained the gradients. So you can try out there's what I the one I just used now is the linear gradients. So you can try out the other one. This one is what the radial gradient. So just like different positioning of the gradient tool. So now let me toggle this one off and then I can use the radial. Let me see what it does. So you see it's giving us a selection. So it's pushing one of the color like this. It's giving you like the color in a radial form. Yeah, so you can see that one is linear, while this one is radial. There are other ones here. This one is reflected, I think. Okay, angle. So let me try this one and see. Angle. Yeah, so it's just this is just basically you can just play around with this thing so you can get to learn it well. So then the next one is the blur tool. Yeah, I hardly use this one, but it's basically to just blur out a particular portion of an image. There are other blur options that you can use, but let me just show you this one so you can see if I okay. I need to do that on the picture. So let me duplicate the picture and use the blur tool so you can see. So if I go to the blur tool, I can easily blur out any part of an image like this. I just blur it out and you can see it's blurring off like that. So you can also make use of that tool too. I hardly use it. So I think the blur tool it makes his selection. It takes time to make a selection, so it's still slowing. Okay, yeah. So I think I'm done. So the next one is the dodge tool. Well, I've never used this one, so I think I'm just going to skip this. Yeah, so the next one here is the pen tool. Under the pen tool is free transform pen tool. Um, sorry, there's the content aware pen tool. There's the curvature pen tool and the add anchor point pen tool, the leads anchor point. Many different kind of pen tool here. But basically, from the pen tool here, you can easily create a new shape. So, like I told you from the options here, if you select a tool, there are options at the top here. So you can see that from here there is shape and there is path. So there's shape and there's path. So the shape is to any tool that any shape that you create with the pen tool, then it's going to create an actual shape like with the colors, with fill colors. So this is called fill colors. While for the path, the opposite of these fill colors is the path tool. So let me go back to the pen tool. Part two. So when and this is another tool that replaces the lasso tool when you are trying to select a part of an image. So that same thing that the lasso tool does, that you select a part of an image and then you can remove it. This is what this one does as well. So let me leave this one like this. So now you can see the pen tool. This pen tool is something you need to master as well. You can use it to even remove an image from the background. You can use it to make a selection of something and then you can just you just like the lasso tool, you can use it to make a selection of something and remove it or change it somehow. So you can see how to select his head. Let me do this properly so you guys can see. So now remember this picture is a PNG. So all I just want to do is to remove this part of his image here with the color. So I'm just going to use the pen tool. The pen tool gives you like a proper selection. If you select this, you can move it slide right or move it left so it can balance to whatever you are trying to do. So once you select one, you can click on the next one, or you hold Alt so it will break that particular one, and then you click on another part like this, and then don't just click on it. You need to like tap and hold it, and then you can move it around. So it gives you this curve. So you ensure that it aligns to what you are selecting. So as you can see, I'm trying to select his face out of this is cloth now, for example. So it's just be this part of his skin that is showing. So once you have the selection here, if you just move on to tap another one, it doesn't give you like a proper flow, because sometimes it's not going to move very well, because you have to like select it properly. So now you need to go back here and break this handle like this. So you just need to hold Alt and then you tap on it, and then you see it breaks. And then, so let me just do this quickly. So I'm just going to select this. So yeah, so you see I've selected it. Why I don't have to start selecting this part is because it's a PNG, so the background is transparent, so it will not affect the background because I'm on this particular layer. So you need to understand that anything you are doing needs to be on that particular layer that you're trying to edit. So as I've done it like this, I just press Control Enter, and then you see it gives me a selection. All I can do is to, I can even just use the move tool, yeah, and just move out the head, so you can see what it does. It gives me that copy. Then I press Control D, so I can turn off this and turn off. Okay, I think I was supposed to, let me do it properly so it will have like, it will create a layer on its own. So now if I come here, I can do right click, layer via copy, and then I can toggle this off, and then we have just his head like this, for example, just his head like this now. So you can see we have just his head. So yeah, this is basically what the pencil does. You can select a part of an image, and then you can just select it out and move it out of that picture. So moving on, this is the text tool. Yeah, this is another tool that you're going to be using in Photoshop. Basically, this is basically like to type in text. So you select here, you see it automatically pops a text, and then you can type in anything. So let me just type in August, for example. So you can see you type in August, yeah, and then it gives you the option to, there's an option here. So now if you go to, if you see from these options here, you can see the character layer, where you can adjust all these things. You can increase the size of the font. This is where to increase the size of the font. So this is on 30 now. I can take it to 36 like this, and then I can change the color to any color here. So this, I can also pick a color. This is where the eyedropper tool comes in place again. You can pick a color. Let's say I want to pick the color of this shirt. I can pick it now. You can see I just pick any color. I want to pick the color of his hair. I just tap on it, and then it's selected. So now you can also make this all caps. There are many other options here. You can make it all caps. You can make it small letter. So it was an all caps. I dropped it down to small letter. You can make it all caps. In case you want everything to be on capital letter, you just type on capital letter. You don't need to start turning on your cap lock and trying to type. You just type it, and then you just click on this one, and then you can, from here you can select different fonts. Now these are my list of fonts. I have a long list of fonts here. So you can see I can select any of these fonts like this and use it. So let me try and change this font, so you can see I just selected another new font. So basically all these tools have their own different, they are like kind of deep. You need to like come and understand some of them basically, but you just need to know that this is text tool. You just type in your text and then you use it. So up next we have the part tool. Is basically to just, select a part selection to select a particular part. I'm not going to be really explaining this one. I'll just go to shape tool. So this is the shape tool now. Here, these are the normal um, geometric shapes that we have. This is the rectangle tool, the ellipse tool, which is the circle tool, triangle tool, polygon tool, line tool. So once you say line shape, sorry, so once you select on any of these shapes, you can just go drag and create a shape on top of your artboard, and then you can see that shapes automatically create like this. So if I want to create the circle shape too, I can go back to the option here, and then I can just create a circle. So if you want it to like be very organized, you need to hold shift. So if I hold shift, you see it's creating very well. There is no, it's not distorting like this. So you need to hold shift for it to create very well without distorting. So that's that. You can just explore some of these tools here. So I will move on. We are done with most of the tools here. I promise to like show you guys how to create some designs here, but I don't know if time will permit us. Let me see if you can actually do that. So now that's that about the tools. You can just take your time to explore some of these tools here, and then from the options above here, there is edit. This is basically for editing many other editings that you can do, showing you different editing options like perspective warp. Um, those ones you can still explore them by yourself. This is image. For image now, there's an option here also to add effects to an image. So if you click on this one, you can see that there's an option to add adjustments. You can see brightness levels, those things are still here. There is auto toning. If you click on that, it will tone the image. You see it's automatically tone the image for us. So if I click on Ctrl Z, you can see this is the previous image. I go down to image and I click on auto toning, it tones it up. So like you just need to explore some of these tools here. So the layer tool, this basically refers to things that are connected to the layer. So you can add layer styles here, blending options, but you can still do it from the layer here. You can come here and you see there's also um, an option to add those things here. If I click on this effects here, you can see blending options. So it's just the same thing. Layer this layer styles, this layer option here is also the same thing as this effect here on any layer. So the type to this refers to, I think this refers to the text. Yeah, so it refers to things that are related to the text. So let me select this August text and let's see what we can do. So if I click on the type tool, you see most of those options that are not visible now, they're visible. You can extrude to 3D, anti-alias. So you just need to explore some of these things yourself. So this is the select option here. Control A, this is basically to select the entire frame. You can see as I clicked it, all the frames is being selected. I can click on Control D and then it deselects. So go back to select. You can see you can select all layers. If you look on the layer panel, you can see that all the layers are selected. So this is just basically some of the things you just need to understand. So now the another option that you are going to be using very well is the filter. This is going to be very handy for you because you're going to be working on different images and you need to add filters. So there are different filters that you can add. See here, there's the filter gallery, adaptive wide range, camera raw filter, lens correction, liquidified. There are just a lot of other filters here. So with time, we'll get to cover some of these things. But for now, you just need to know that if you want to apply a filter to this image now, so let me be sure that you guys can hear me clearly. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, sure, very well,
Yes,
clearly.
sir, we can hear you.
Yeah. So like I was saying, to add filters, okay, from the filter options here, you can see that there are different filters here. Let me try the filter gallery so you can see now. So under the filter gallery, there are like a host of different filters. You get like a lot of filters there. There's filter for old school, different things. So um, let me see. So under this one now, there's artistic filter. There's artistic, brush strokes, distort, sketch, stylize, texture. So under each of these ones, there are different filters that you can apply. So let me try one here. Artistic filter. So you can see now color. So you can see what it does. This one is cut out. So now from if you select on any one, there is an option by the left, sorry, by the right. You can see there's an option there to like toggle it. You can adjust these handles. So you can change the intensity of some of the filter options there. So I can move this one edge simplicity. So yeah, so this is just something you can just take your time to explore. So you see this. So if you check on each of them, there's an option to adjust to make adjustments. There's an option to make adjustments depending on how you want it or what you actually want to do. So basically, this is the artistic, and there are many other filters under it. Down to the brush strokes, you can see there are many other ones under it as well. Down to the distort as well. You see, this one basically distorts a picture. This one, the second one is glass. It gives you this glassy kind of effect here. And you see, if I increase the distortion, it automatically gives us a like a complete glass effect here. But I can drop it down, and then it just, you see, the intensity, it drops down, and then I can increase the smoothness. So yeah, different options here. There are just different options here that you can play with to like give you some beautiful effects on your designs. So this one is ocean ripple. So it's close. It's kind of related to the glass effect. Um, let's see. Yeah. So this basically this one. Then this one is sketch. This is basically like black and white. So there's a particular one here I usually use sometimes. I think it's this half tone. Yeah. So you see what this one does. Gives you this beautiful kind of black and white, and it has these dotted lines on it. So I've used this sometimes. I've used it for a cover art that I did previously. So you see, I increase the contrast, and it's becoming darker. So the first one is to reduce the size, the second one is to reduce the contrast. You get, so you can still toggle here. You can see dotted dots circle. You can still make, yeah, you see what this one does. It gives this circle kind of distortion on it there. This circle pattern, sorry. And then this one is line. So the thing, this one will be like straight lines there. You can see. Yeah, so there are just different options there that you can play around with. This one is stylized, glow edges. So see, this is another different thing on its own here. And then this is texture. Yeah, so you see what this one does. This one gives this grainy effect, more like noisy stuff. This one gives like tiles, just creating some tiles. So this might not really work well for this for a picture like this. But let's say you have like a full background picture with background or some things, you can actually apply some of this effect and it will make sense. But for this particular picture, it might not really make sense. I'm just using this to show you an example. So now that's that about the filter gallery. So there's adaptive wide angle range. I don't use that one most times. So now the next one is the camera raw filter. This is the filter I use most times to like brighten my picture, add glows, add if some, make it brighter, make it look more attractive. So now it takes time to load sometime. So let's just hold on for it to load, because there are a lot of things you can do with this. Now I think this particular camera raw filter has the option of most of all these other filters. Say you can do black and white in it, you can do different things in it now. So yeah, if you come here, this is it, this is how it is now. Under this one too, there are different options here to apply different kind of filters. So the basic ones here, you can see tints and temperature. If you toggle this option up, you see it's giving you, based on the color there is yellow, it's giving you this yellow color, but I don't think you want to do something like that. This one is giving you this bluish kind of shape. So I just leave this at probably -2. This one now is giving you purple tints, you get. So you just need to play around with this. So this is the exposure. This is the ones I use most of the time. I take the exposure high a bit like this, and then this is even too high, and then I increase the contrast. I drop down highlights for most of the pictures, because sometimes some pictures have too much highlights and it might be distracting sometimes because you just see it's too bright. So then I bring down shadows as well. Then I increase the whites slightly. Sometimes you need to even drop the whites so the picture don't become too bright, because the exposure is already giving it some kind of like massive brightness. So if you are increasing other things and making it bright, it's not going to make so much sense like that again. So then the texture, I some of these options I don't even touch them. I just only toggle them down small. And then the clarity here, I take clarity up like this, and then dehaze. What do I do with dehaze? Let me see. I'll leave it like this, and then saturation. Sometimes I take it up, sometimes I take it down. But let me take it down here. Then vibrance, I take vibrance up a bit. So I'm just trying to do something here. So see, this is another option that this another one of the options I use most times to brighten my image. So the next one here is the curve. I don't use this curve most times. Yeah, this one now you can like bring it down, and you see it's adding some changes to the picture. If you take it up like this, it's making it brighter. You're bringing it down, it's giving it that dark kind of shades. Now the next one here is details. So what I also do most times, I increase the sharpen high a bit. You can sure I take it very high most times. So this is what most designers do, that you see their picture looking very crispy. Like they increase the sharpen on the picture very high, and then you might be saying, okay, is this not too much? Yeah, sometimes it gets too much. So if it's too much, you can drop it down. But then let me just take this high like this, and then if you reduce the noise reduction, it's going to make the picture smooth, because the sharpen makes it like makes it rough, gives it this noisy kind of effect. Then if you use this smooth, it's going to smoothen it slightly a bit, and then it will give you a perfect glow on the picture there. So this one now is the color mixer. I'm not going to go into explaining this one, because this is like more like color grading, color toning. So it depends on what you're working on. If you need to like add some red to your design, you can add it, or to your picture. If you need to add orange, you can just come and tone or toggle some of these options, and then whatever it gives you, you can flow with what you have. And this is color grading as well. This is and also another different advanced kind of color option here. So you can just try this